This is numerical methods. This is the introductory class, but we'll do some programming in this class. My name is Pranav Bonsul. Just call me by my first name, Pranav. I'm in the mechanical industrial engineering, just like all of you are, I believe. Anybody not mechanical industrial? Not surprised. I've been here for 5 years now, and this is my second time teaching this class. Okay, so why learn numerical methods? Well, you've taken lots of classes at UIC in mechanical engineering, statics, fluid dynamics, thermodynamics. Many of these classes lead to equations and some things which involve essentially numbers, but or equations in general, differential equations, linear equations, so on. It turns out that none of these equations can be solved by hand. Okay, that's the reality of it. It's because okay, I need to backtrack. When I say cannot be solved by hand, yes, you can solve them in the exams because those questions are such that they can be solved in finite time. But when you go out in the industry, none of those equations which you solve for machines will be solved by hand. You need some numerical method to solve them. You might have used ANSYS. Have you used ANSYS, FEM? So that basically is using a numerical method to solve problem. It's basically finite element method, but it essentially boils down to taking a partial differential equation. Have you heard of partial differential equation? Okay, and then solving it on a computer. So that's one example, but there are other instances where you need to have a computer to solve it. And this class is sort of like the only class in the curriculum which teaches you how to take those methods. And it's just unfortunate it comes too late in the curriculum, but it is important, right? Many times what will happen is you will be never really look at the tools we'll be using here in your life in an industry solving this problem because you'll be using a software. But nevertheless, when you run into errors, you have to go to first principles, think of in terms of scratch, like, why is this software giving me this answer? And then you might have to go and open a textbook on numerical methods and ask yourself, or maybe this is wrong or that is wrong, and then debug things based on that way. So that's why I think it's important to learn the fundamentals of numerical methods, even though you'll be using some software to solve your problems. We are two people in this class. One is on the instructor side. I'm the instructor. There's a TA, Chunmin Yang. He's not here, but he will be grading your homeworks and project and exams, and I'll be grading too. But then any questions about the course content, you should direct to me. And then Chunming, I did not put his email, but I think I'll put it on I might have it on the syllabus. I'll include it there. You need to email him about any questions about grading, okay? There is a book for this course. I don't know if the cover has changed, but the main thing I would take away from this slide is that you don't need to buy the book. I know it's very expensive to buy books in general, and I don't make you buy the book. What I will do is I'll give you notes, which I'll handwrite, and then I'll give you code and so on. If there are some things from the book, I can give it to you like a handout. I don't think I'm going to use anything from the book, which I need to give it to you. So there's no copyright issues. If there are questions from the book, I basically type it out on the homework and give it to you. So I don't tell you to go and see problem 10.5 and solve it, because that means you need to buy the book. And I'm against, making students buy expensive books. So you don't have to buy anything. We'll use Blackboard for everything in this course. So you should have access to Blackboard if you enroll for this course. And it'll have everything you need. So that's one-stop shop for everything. The prerequisites for this course is 109. That is, I think, programming with MATLAB. I think that in this course, programming in any language will help you. I'm going to restrict myself to, I'll be using Octave in this course, which is actually very similar to MATLAB. So don't get scared by the word Octave. It's basically if you take a MATLAB code and put it in Octave, it will run fine. And I'll get to that in just a bit. So the class meets Monday, Wednesday, Friday here, ARC 240. Now, this is the good part. I have to walk here, but you do not have to walk over here. And that's because I have a Zoom session going on in parallel. I think there's one person on Zoom. You can just skip class that does not come here. You can be in ERF attending this class through Zoom. If that doesn't work for you, you don't have to attend the class. I basically record all my lectures and notes, and I post it on Blackboard, and you can view them offline anytime. So attendance is not mandatory, as you must have guessed by now. I don't take attendance. I don't grade you for attendance. It's your choice. If you want to come for the class, you benefit from the class, feel free to come for the class. There's something about virtual lecture policy, but I think everybody knows this because we've been in through COVID, and everybody has gone through some kind of virtual classroom sessions, right? So the grading is as follows. This actually worked pretty well last time. Everybody was happy with this grading scheme. And I think what made them happy was there was no final exam. Okay, so 20% homework, 3 exams, and a final project. I think I was able to finish the, so did you get my email which I sent yesterday? How many saw my email? It should have come from Blackboard to you. Okay, I already assigned homework 1. Okay, now I may say I'm insane giving you homework in week 1, but I can tell you that what I'll do is I'll load you with more stuff to do in the first half of the semester, so that by the time you're at the end of the semester, like in November, you're just done with the course, this project left. So this will give you more time for other courses. And I think that was what made people happy about that last time I taught it. It is, we were done like before November. I think we were done with the syllabus, and then people working on the project. So the hope is that I'll get you done, and that way you can focus on other thing. I think senior design, many of you will be taking senior design, so that's kind of important, right? So you can do other things. So just bear with me. We're going to rush through the course in the first. By rush, I mean have lots of work, but then it will become easier as you go in the semester. So homework is 20%, 3 exams, 60%, and final project is 20%, no finals. So my philosophy, I don't want you to pay money for this course, other than the tuition which UIC charges you. So I'm going to use Octave, which is free. Now, if you like MATLAB, don't worry. Just take the code which I write here, put it in MATLAB. It'll run just fine. Okay, so you can use Octave, which I'm going to use, or you can use MATLAB. It costs $99, but you might have it because you already took CS 109. Now, Octave, as I said, Octave code runs fine in MATLAB. Okay, so Python, if you like to do Python, that's fine too, except that we want to keep it MATLAB so that it's just easier in terms of resources. So if you submit homework with Python, that's fine. Just that we may not be able to offer you programming help. That is for office hours. Personally, I can offer you help. My TA, I don't know. I can offer you help with Python, no problem. Homeworks, this is one change I made. I want you to work individually. I used to allow groups, but I wanted to be individual, because I think what happened was people would simply, one person would be working hard and the other person would slack off, and I don't want that to happen. So you can discuss homeworks in groups. You can have groups of 2, 3, no problem, but each homework I want you to submit individually, and that's because if you don't do it individually, you will really suffer in the exam, because the exam, you cannot do it in groups, right? You need to answer the exam yourself. So that's where I think working individually will help you. Even if you discuss, what makes you really understand is to write it down yourself. And without understanding, you don't want to just copy somebody's homework, right? So please work individually for the homeworks. It's due every Thursday at midnight, 1 minute before midnight. Though I said no late submissions, what I do typically is that I give you 1 more week. So let's say that it's due on Thursday. So you can submit 1 week late for 50% credit, and then it becomes 0%, right? So you can submit 1 week late, but at the penalty of 50%. That's just because it's going to be homework every week, and there's going to be exam every 3 weeks, or 2 weeks rather, 2 or 3 weeks, I forget, every 2 weeks. So what happens if you're late with the homeworks, there's no way you can, well, you can make up in the exam, but it's like we have to just keep going. Otherwise, it's just impossible to keep track, to manage the course. So we want you to get done at most 2 weeks to finish your homework. Some of the homework questions will be code, and I'll explicitly tell you if you need to email that to the TA, or if you have to submit to Gradescope. So if you look at homework 1, which is already assigned, I have said, Gradescope, do this, email either do this or do nothing. So just follow those instructions. The final project, I will allow you to work in groups of max 2. It's usually finals week, but last time I think they got 2 or 3 weeks to work on the project. Now, what I did do was people who work individually had like there were 3 parts to it. So if you work individually, there were 3 parts to it. If you work in groups of 2, then I made you do another 4th part. So there was more work if you did in groups of 2, and I think I will try to do something similar. Again, you need to, both of the members should contribute to the project, right? 3 exams, 20% each, no finals. There is no makeup. You can read the rules. This is I really follow this. This is, you can't just come up on the, just mail me on the exam day and say, I'm sorry, I can't make it. I woke up late. We don't take those excuses, and I'll enforce that. If there is a medical emergency, I require that you send me the note which you got from the doctor, and then I will accommodate you somehow. So it's closed book in class. I think, yeah, last time I allowed you to have 1 page, letter size, only handwritten notes. You cannot type anything down. You can use both sides. If you want, you can copy the entire solution, homework solution, no problem. You can do anything you want with that 1 page, okay? And you get that page to the exam, and then you basically use that to solve. So I will not give you any formulas, but I'm expecting that you would write the formulas down on that page. And I think I remember last time it was like some people would, like even if they had this, there were some questions where it was just a matter of a formula and they did not have the formula and they said, oh, I did not write this formula down. So that's not an excuse. You can write whatever you want on that page, and please write all the formulas down, right? You simply lose points. No mobile cell phones, calculator. Now, people do ask me, what calculator should I use? This is my recommendation. Go on Google and search for FE exam calculator, okay? These are calculators you use for if you're taking the fundamentals in engineering exam. That's the first exam before you become professional engineer. They have a recommended set of calculators, and they're not very expensive. They're like $5, $10, the most $15. Now, if you have a calculator, don't buy an FE exam calculator. It's only if people do not have a calculator and looking to shop for one, go for an FE exam. But if you have a calculator, please use it. Okay, don't buy one of these calculators. My office hours are going to be the same Zoom link. It's here. It's also on the syllabus. Monday, Wednesday, 11 to 12:30. You can also email me. I'm pretty quick with emails. If I don't respond, just give me like 24 hours to respond, but I'm usually very fast. Last time I did not allow ChatGPT, but this time I will allow ChatGPT. Now, this is not mandatory. It's up to you, okay? Does everybody know what's ChatGPT? It's a large language model. It basically takes high-level instructions and uses that to answer your question. So you could essentially take my question homework problem, put it in ChatGPT, it'll give you answers, okay? But what I recommend, you don't do that, because if you do that and you solve it based on ChatGPT, then there's no way you can ask ChatGPT in your exams, which is 60% of your credit. So don't do that don't do it for the questions where it involves solving by hand. Now, you could use it to check. No, you should do that. But by solving for hand, just solve it by hand, discuss in groups, don't use ChatGPT. What I really want you to use ChatGPT is for coding, okay? There will be coding questions, use that. Feel free to use ChatGPT in your project. A project will be a coding project, right? So the last bullet point is important. Do not use it for handwritten part, because it'll affect your ability to do well in the course, but use it for coding. Okay, so the first assignment which I assigned you is all coding. You should start using ChatGPT for it. That's fine. If you don't want to use ChatGPT, code it yourself, that's fine too. I think it's necessary that we use ChatGPT because I believe when you go work in an industry, you will use a resource like ChatGPT. Now, there are some other things that you have to worry about for ChatGPT, like you cannot put proprietary data on ChatGPT. Do you know why? Anybody knows why? Yeah.
I think it uses all our inputs into it
To learn, right? Right. It uses, yeah, it uses the data you provide. Like when you ask it a question, it's actually learning based on that data. So if you go to work in a company and you take some sensitive information and put it on ChatGPT, it'll learn that. And that's not good. That's like you'll violate some policies in your company. So when you work in a company, don't tell that I told you to use ChatGPT in school, so you can use it there in the company. It's very important. In fact, I think this is coming. We will have so the free version, you don't have to pay anything, just need to create a login. But there's a paid version, which costs, I think, $20 a month. And I think UIC is trying to they're working on this. Like, they're figuring out if they can, the pros and cons of using ChatGPT, and eventually, hopefully, you will have, maybe not you guys, maybe the next, if you're here for a year, maybe you will have ChatGPT of the paid version for usage. By the way, do you know that we have Grammarly, paid version of Grammarly? Do you know what Grammarly is? So Grammarly is a tool which helps you to improve your grammar. So you can go to grammarly.com, put whatever report you have, and it'll actually suggest improvements like grammar changes and so on. We have actually a paid version of Grammarly available to students for free. And you should totally take it. You can put it in your Word. It actually, once you download it, actually interfaces with your Microsoft Word or text editor that it'll actually correct for you, and it'll make your writing better. I highly recommend using Grammarly. Okay, so the last bullet point is these are the topics. The last one, optimization, I'll do it if time permitting. It's very useful and important, but what we are required is to do up to partial differential equations. Okay, questions? Are there any questions?